everybody. You are getting ready to tune in to Canary Cry News Talk. Thanks for popping in again live here. We're having all sorts of technical difficulties, which we'll make sure to talk about almost endlessly in the episode. But don't worry, it's going to be a great show. Now, here's the thing. I see people popping in from YouTube, popping in all over the internet. And here's a big favor that Gons and I ask of you. If you are watching this live, please go to twitch.tv/CanaryCryRadio and watch live on Twitch. We are trying to get our average live viewers over on Twitch up to 75. Now, with the hundreds and sometimes thousands of people who tune in live, if we could just get like 1% of you, which is harder than it sounds, to head over to twitch.tv/CanaryCryRadio, watch live there. That would help us out a bunch. And all you cool kids over at Twitch, good job. All right, get ready for the show, everybody. Here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the live stream. We had massive technical issues trying to go live. As soon as we hit live last time, we got the computers crashing, video crashing, Twitch not working, but I think we're working now. Not really. I mean, I'm just cautious here because I just want to make sure everything's going to continue working because it was bad. It was real bad, guys. It was like that was probably the worst crash we've ever had in terms of trying to go live. We've had some hiccups before, but that was bad. Oh my gosh, real. Oh no. No sound. Oh, here we go. Hold on.
Oh my
Okay, speak,
gosh.
Basil. Speak, Basil.
There we go. Okay.
Okay,
If you
so
can
no.
hear us.
This is all right. Well, at least the
Okay.
RSS feed. You guys will get all the
There
stuff
we
Basil
go.
was saying at the beginning.
There we
Otherwise,
go. Yes,
sorry about that, live
everybody can
streamers.
hear. I almost feel like we should just restart the show and everything.
All right, you want to do it? I can do the intro again.
Let's
We can
just
do the
do
intro.
it.
All right,
Yep, we're
here
gonna
we go.
start fresh, everybody. Everybody
Okay,
can hear us now. Here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
Hey, everybody, you are listening to Canary Cry News Talk. This is, it is April 29th, 2020, episode 191. And this is a take 3 on our episode titled VR Puppets and Bleachin' Beaches. This is our third try going here. And for the third time, my name is Basil.
and this is Gonz, and this time you knew the date, so better intro.
I knew the date. And we just started the whole show and gave all the reasons why we've been having so much trouble. And for those who need a recap, we had computers crashing, we had updates happening, we had Skype disconnecting everything, we had bad connections, what else? All this. And now we're just starting the show for the third time, and my microphone stand has come off my desk. I'm frantically trying to screw it back on before we have to do this again. Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Oh,
How you
wow.
doing, Gons?
I don't know. I'm just waiting for my green screen to come down. That's like the only thing that hasn't happened yet is everything
has
falling
been
apart over here.
Crazy day trying to get this going. So there you go. So yes, we are fighting through the technical difficulties. I'm still blindly battling my microphone stand to screw it on. I want to say thank you to everybody tuning in from all over the internet. I see we got a bunch of Twitchers. I'm loving that. We got YouTube coming in all over the place. And as I gave this spiel during the countdown, but apparently our audio was not on. But I do want to say, if you are out there watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you are, please, we are trying to hit 75 average concurrent viewers over on twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. We need to be averaging 75 viewers over there. So with the hundreds and sometimes thousands of people who are watching this live, the best place for you to watch it live is over at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Gonz is going to drop that link in the chat. I think I have my microphone stand on.
You know what? Something to mention here. Maybe this is a part of the reason why we're having issues. Is we're live streaming for the first time on D Live as well. Anybody interested in going over to D Live, you can check it out there. Somebody in the chat was saying pathetic. Yeah, you try doing all this there, fella.
No,
all the technical
let me guess. They're
computers.
From YouTube?
Yeah, it was from YouTube.
Yeah, of course. YouTube's got nothing good to say. I don't even read YouTube comments anymore. They're just mean over there. But the Twitch people, those people are cool. I like you, Twitch people. All right, so let's see. Anything to go over again that we missed?
No, let's just go before stuff falls apart again.
Okay, sounds good. We're gonna start off the show here first with a quick little Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, Flippy update. For those who don't know, if this is your first time, we track Flippy. Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arm that is taking all our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. Flippy, the original Flippy from Miso Robotics, the burger flipping robot over there in California. Thank you, California. Has been a gateway. The reason we track Flippy in particular, is he's kind of a proxy to track how robotics are snaking their way into our lives and, just making everything more convenient and increasing the surveillance state that we're all starting to get so used to at this point. But just a quick little Flippy update here. Thanks, Brian. Brian sent this to me on Facebook, and this was looks like an ad that Brian got for Miso Robotics, the creator of Flippy. They say, we're making more than just robots. We're making artificial intelligence for kitchens. Flippy has already cooked over 60,000 pounds of fried food and 12,000 burgers. And I thought it would just be important for us to really keep track on what exactly Flippy has cooked. I think there's only one Flippy in commercial use right now. So 12,000 burgers, 60,000 pounds of fried food. That's, those numbers are growing. Good job, Flippy, working hard over there. And also they have, a seed invest account. So if you're trying to invest in Miso Robotics and the future of, robots that are going to enslave us all, you can head to Seed Invest. And it looks like share price right now on Seed Invest is $17.16.
Wow.
So yeah, there you go.
I wonder if
they've got 561 total investors, which is more than we have, Gons. So
yeah, quite a bit more.
mhm.
Do you think was his name Brian who shared this with you? This ad
Yep.
screenshot? Do you think they were tuning in to what he was listening to, and he noticed that he was listening to a podcast that kept talking about Flippy, and so they're like, hey, maybe they're
Yeah.
interested in a little Flippy investment.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe Brian didn't have his Facebook privacy settings set correctly, and Facebook was listening in and knew
Yeah.
that he was getting his Flippy updates.
Yes.
Yeah, if
All
you're
right,
out there, let me know if you're getting these Flippy ads, because
because of
you're
us.
welcome.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so we don't have a jingle for this, but you wanted to run through this real quick and actually give out a call to anyone out there, all you listeners or producers who want to support us by creating jingles for us, because
Yeah.
we got all kinds of fun jingles, and some of them I've made, some of them listeners have made. But you wanted to do a little story about the food, a little throwback from last episode about some food things.
Well, yeah. So I've been watching this whole food supply thing because of the COVID situation, and the food supply thing is the one thing that's kind of worrying me a little bit. The rest of it, I'm not too worried about. But we heard about chickens having to get put down, pork suppliers shutting down, meat packing plants shutting down, all sorts of this stuff. So I'm going to get into that in a second. With a little update, but yes, that's right. We haven't talked a lot about it since we started live streaming, but we actually, consider a lot of our listeners are actually producers of the show. We put calls out for jingles. People out there who have some sort of smartphone or have any ability to do some audio editing, or creative people. We have all sorts of creative people who listen to the show, or just people who love the show and love messing around making jingles. Make a jingle that has to do with the food supply, something with food, because we've been reporting on food advancements over the years, whether it's lab grown meat or whatnot, and now the COVID food supply situation. We need one of these jingles. These have been we report enough on food now that we need a jingle to play. So if you're out there, you got some sort of smartphone that can do it, or you got some sound editing software, go ahead and throw together some jingles and send them to canarycryradio@gmail.com. That's canarycryradio@gmail.com. Send us your jingles, and we might play them on the show. We love getting them. We love playing them. Okay,
Yeah.
Gons, in the place of a jingle, I'll do one. Doop a doop doop. We all love food. There we go. This is from Politico.com. USDA let millions of pounds of food rot while food bank demand soared. Tens of millions of pounds of American-grown produce is rotting in fields as food banks across the country scramble to meet a massive surge in demand. A two-pronged disaster that has deprived farmers of billions of dollars in revenue, while millions of newly jobless Americans struggle to feed their families. While other federal agencies quickly adapted their programs to the coronavirus crisis, the Agricultural Department took more than a month to make its first significant move to buy up surplus fruits and vegetables, despite repeated entreaties. Quote, "It's frustrating," said Nikki Fried, Commissioner of Agriculture in Florida. Fried, who is a Democrat, and much of the Florida congressional delegation asked Agricultural Secretary Sonny Perdue nearly a month ago to use his broad authority and funding to get more Florida farmers plugged into federal food purchasing and distribution programs as the food service market collapsed. Quote, "Unfortunately, USDA didn't move until last week." End quote. Tom Vilsack, who served as agricultural secretary during the Obama administration, put it this way, quote, "It's not a lack of food. It's that the food is in one place and the demand is somewhere else, and they haven't been able to connect the dots. You've got to galvanize people." It has been 6 weeks since President Donald Trump and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention first urged Americans to avoid restaurants as a part of national social distancing guidelines to slow the spread of COVID-19, a move that immediately severed demand from millions of pounds of food earmarked for professional kitchens across the country. Now, they got a lot of graphs and stuff there, and the article goes on for quite a while, tells quite a long story. But the problematic thing, and the thing that really kind of rang some alarm bells for me regarding this article, is we have a situation where specifically we have Democratic legislators in Florida begging for the government to buy this food and distribute it. And it's a little bit of this Hegelian dialectic that we see from so many angles of this whole coronavirus shenanigans, is that, it's an opportunity for increased control from a centralized government. We've got tons of food in the United States. You've got the government not allowing a lot of this food to get distributed in the normal ways. And we're talking everything from produce. Thankfully, I found this article regarding produce, but also we've heard a lot about meat. And now we're calling, shut down the free market. Don't let these guys sell the food that they have, but ask the government to buy the food and distribute it in a centralized federal manner. And, I just find that troubling. I don't like it. I don't think the farmers like it. I don't think anybody's really into that except for the people who are, pulling the levers. What do you think?
Yeah, so much reliance on government. Every time there's a crisis, people just, it's gotten worse, obviously, with the, after 9/11, you had the Patriot Act, which actually expired in March, but then I think they reinstated some of the surveillance apparatus. They just kept it going. Convenient that COVID, would come around right when the Patriot Act was supposed to expire. And, I actually have a good friend who runs a farm, and he's been getting a lot of orders, and he sent me a message the other day saying, hey, it's like, I feel like I have gold bars here, the way that, I'm packing my food and people are demanding the food. So you know what? Some of those independent farmers, they're gonna really, hopefully they can keep people going. But it's gonna be a matter of supporting. Again, we mentioned it last time, supporting your local farmers, and also figuring out a way for yourself to be able to grow food if you can. Because you can't just rely just on the farmers. They're not going to be able to feed everybody unless we just got to educate ourselves, and especially people in the cities. They gotta figure out ways to grow food on their own, because relying on the government is the last thing we should be doing for anything.
Well, and it's not even for any intrinsic, whatever, anti-government, conspiracy theory or whatever. It's just generally the beauty of the free market is you got farmers grow it and people are allowed to buy it and sell it. But
Yeah.
when you shut down those mechanisms and start begging for the government to buy it and distribute it, I mean, that's basically a backdoor to, a sort of socialistic food supply, which, of course, a lot of people would be excited about. But, the food distribution in America has worked pretty well the past 200 years. I don't know if we need to be shaking it up too bad right now. And there's a lot more to talk about with this whole food supply thing in the meat industry. We'll probably talk about it a little bit this episode. Oh, specifically, because I did get one more article I want to talk about real quick. But remember, guys, we do these episodes, hopefully 3 times a week. And if you want to hear us talk more about it, I see people in the chat are trying to talk about the meat thing. We talked about the meat thing quite a bit, so go listen to past episodes. And real quick on the topic, this came out yesterday. APnews.com, Associated Press. The headline reads, Trump orders meat processing plants to remain open. So another weird little twist of the hand here. President Donald Trump took executive action Tuesday to order meat processing plants to stay open amid concerns over growing coronavirus cases and the impact on the nation's food supply. The order uses the Defense Production Act, which is basically the America's sort of backdoor into communist mode of production, which is the sort of official Marxian term for it. They're called modes of production. But the Defense Production Act, the one that Pelosi and the Democrats want to impeach President Trump over not using. He's using it now to classify meat processing as critical infrastructure to try to prevent a shortage of chicken, pork, and other meat on supermarket shelves. Unions fired back, saying the White House was jeopardizing lives and prioritizing cold cuts over workers' health. So they want to impeach him over not using the Defense Production Act, and now he uses it. And, of course, the unions fire back, saying he wants to kill everybody. So, there's no
Typical.
winning for this guy.
Between a rock and a hard place, for sure. We did. We mentioned how we were asking people to make jingles, and actually, people have sent us jingles. And we've touched on we touched a lot on the money thing, cryptocurrencies and all that kind of stuff, and the fractional reserve banking and the failing banking system, the fiat monetary crisis, and everything else. And we got a couple jingles that we're going to mesh up here. These were done by listeners who are who we consider producers. So we got a little money update here.
$100 billion.
I don't have any money.
This is MSN.com. Thank you I think it was Peter and B-Dub.
Peter and B-Dubs. We kind of smashed your 2 jingles together. So thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, B-Dubs, over there on the Canary Cry community.
MSN.com. Deadly bank protests ratchet up pressure on Lebanon premier. And it says here, clashes between protesters and troops left 1 man dead in the northern Lebanese city of Tripoli, as mounting anger over the country's currency crisis risked reigniting a broad anti-government movement that had subsided with the coronavirus outbreak. Oh, that's convenient. Demonstrators late on Monday set fire to 3 bank branches, attacked several ATM machines, and hurled rocks and fireworks at security forces and homes, the army said in a statement. Former Justice Minister Ashraf Rifi, who's from the city, said 1 man had died of his injuries. Banks in Tripoli will shut until further notice, the Association of Banks said. 40 soldiers were wounded in the violence, which the army blamed on infiltrators. Another 13 were hurt when the army tried to reopen blocked roads in other parts of the country, according to the military. Fearing their savings will be wiped out by a fast depreciating local currency and hit by spiraling inflation, hundreds of Lebanese are ignoring the restrictions imposed to contain COVID-19 and resuming protests, burning debris in the street and blocking roads with their cars. Protests against the establishment accused of incompetence and elitism first erupted in October and soon felled the administration of then Premier Saad Hariri. And it goes on here, but the currency crisis is one of those issues. Every fiat currency throughout history has failed, and the first sign of the failure is just printing, 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 and that's a problem, especially right now with all the printing that has gone on in the last month or so. Are we going to see the same thing in America? I mean, it feels like it could never happen, right? That people burning banks and hurling rocks at ATMs and stuff. It feels like it can't happen, but it can happen, I think, in America if more people start waking up to what's actually going on, and people's savings and pensions get lost, and retirement accounts get demolished and things like that. It can be very, very ugly. So just keeping an eye.
That convo goes quite deep. I mean, you had me at they were burning banks.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, hold on. I hear toilets flushing in my house. I need to make sure that need to get my door closed here.
All right. Well, I'll take the opportunity to mention we do have something that, there's a lot to be discussed about technology and sort of where things are headed with the monetary system. Aside from gold and silver and precious metals to store your wealth, there is this thing called cryptocurrencies out there, and we've kind of started to we're trying to educate people on it, just because I know everyone just assumes it's the mark of the beast, and we talk about how a lot of times we've talked multiple times about how eventually, obviously, it's going to lead to that, but in the meantime, people are creating the Web 3.0, a way to get off the current internet and to free the internet. And we've done our part to sort of investigate, and we want to share some of that with you. If you want to know more, go to canarycryradio.com/crypto, and you'll learn how to surf the decentralized web, and visit our little website, canarycry.crypto. And it's actually pretty cool. It's a censorship resistant. Oops, I don't have it here. It's a censorship resistant way to use the internet, and you can also send cryptocurrencies to us using the address. So the world is changing, Basil, and we just kind of want to stay on top of it and let you guys know that there's other options, especially since everyone's sitting at home and they can't really do much. So there's some time to learn.
The concerns over censorship and everything, this decentralized internet is going to be the way to go. So if you want to learn how to use the decentralized internet, you can go to canarycryradio.com/crypto. Nice, Gons, you did a great job laying it all out there. It's a nice read. You can learn about decentralized internet and how to interact with it and the benefits and everything like that. So go check it out. And I want to give a big old shout out again to everybody over on Twitch. I'm looking at the numbers. We almost are at 75 viewers over there. Now, I saw in the chat some people cruising over there and were having trouble because it was buffering and stuff like that. Make sure to close your YouTube stream too. If you got too many things streaming at once, everything's going to be buffering. So head over to twitch.com/canarycryradio. Close down your YouTube tab there. We even got Susan Wojcicki is following us on Twitch, and she's watching here, and she wants everybody to know that they don't censor material over on YouTube unless it strays from the official story, in which case that's criminal activity. But over here on Twitch, we're nice and free. So go to twitch.tv/canarycryradio. Close everything else, all the other streams you got coming in, and follow us there. We're almost at our 75 average viewers, so keep helping us out. All right, Gons. Should we? And if you make the move over to Twitch and follow us during the broadcast, I will give you a shout out on the show.
Let me mention.
Get back to the show.
Yeah, let me mention just one more last thing about the whole crypto thing. The Microsoft patent that recently came out, mining cryptocurrencies with your body and your brain waves and your organs and all kinds of stuff. If you go back and find the video on my YouTube channel that I read the whole patent and I went through it, and the main thing there is they're trying to do this for centralized cryptocurrencies, which is kind of a pointless thing. There's no reason to actually mine cryptocurrencies if it's a centralized thing with a central printing system. So go look at that. I know some people are some people are confused about what's going on here. There's a good side and a bad side to the whole crypto thing. So just keep that in mind. Keep an open mind with that and study, learn what's going on, because it's it's changing, folks. It's all changing.
Yes.
And let's move on. We're going to do some VR stuff here. You know what, Basil? I'm going to let you read some of this, because this is actually, because you're wearing the VR headset. So I would be interested to see what you think about this.
I'll be reading about VR in the VR space. Here we go. This is ScienceDaily.com. Which is a little bit more of a journal than it is a news site. So let's see what we got here. Today's virtual reality systems can create immersive visual experiences, but seldom do they enable users to feel anything, particularly walls, appliances, and furniture. Why particularly appliances?
I don't know.
You just really need them to feel appliances. A new device developed at Carnegie Mellon University, however, uses multiple strings attached to the hand and fingers to simulate the feel of obstacles and heavy objects. Oh my gosh. By locking the strings when the user's hand is near a virtual wall, for instance, the device simulates the sense of touching the wall. Similarly, the string mechanism enables people to feel the contours of a virtual sculpture, sense resistance when they push on a piece of furniture, or even give a high five to a virtual character. Kathy Fang, cool name, Kathy Fang, who will graduate from CMU next month with a joint degree in mechanical engineering and human-computer interaction, said the shoulder-mounted device takes advantage of spring-loaded strings to reduce weight, consume less battery power, and keep costs low. Quote, elements such as walls, furniture, and virtual characters are key to building immersive virtual worlds. And yet, contemporary VR systems do little more than vibrate hand controllers, said Chris Harrison, assistant professor at CMU's Human-Computer Interaction Institute. Holy smokes. User evaluation of the multi-string device was reported by co-authors Harrison, Fang, Robotics Institute engineer Matthew Dwarman, and HCII doctoral student Yang Zhang, found it was more realistic than other haptic techniques. Huh. Okay. Very interesting. I don't know if you had more I should read. I think I get the idea here.
Yeah,
They're trying to make the VR more the experience a little bit more exciting, huh?
Yeah, and it says here later on, the researchers experimented with a number of different strings and string placements, eventually concluding that attaching one string to each finger, one to the palm, and one to the wrist provided the best experience. The Leap motion sensor, which tracks hand and finger motions, is attached to the VR headset. When it senses that a user's hand is in proximity to a virtual wall or other obstacle, the ratchets are engaged in a sequence suited to those virtual objects. And, you look ridiculous already with that thing on your head. How ridiculous are people going to look when they have, strings attached to their fingers?
Dude,
this is like the puppeteer, becoming a puppet.
I totally get what you're saying now. It really is kind of a puppetry type of thing, which is like the most apt comparison that, when we talk about VR and how it's going to be used for control and docility of populations in the future and take over our lives. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, you got strings attached to your fingers and your hands and everything. That is a total virtual reality puppet situation. It is almost too poetic and too perfect to be true.
It's kind of low tech too. It saves a lot of energy, just some strings on the fingers. It's a lot better than trying to come up with devices and all kinds of hardware and stuff like that.
Trying to use accelerometers and things like that, like they do now. Wow, that is I get it now. I didn't get it before, but I get
the reason why the episode is titled.
I know. Sometimes I help make the titles. Other times I just read the titles, folks. And VR Puppet is here. Basil, your VR Puppet. I'll
You're
keep an eye out for that. I'm sure it's a while until something like that becomes commercially available. But yeah, you're talking about making the VR experience more uh, enticing, more realistic, and just more dystopian and depressing. Uh, Putting everybody on marionette strings is the way to do it.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
I think that's the question.
Ooh.
We're going to move on.
Yeah.
That's a throwback jingle. We got a little transhuman update too. Keeping up with the patent type of stuff because we mentioned that Microsoft patent. This is a little throwback. This was a patent from back in 2015, but this is a little creepy. Routing policies for biological hosts. Methods, systems, and products provided interface between intra-host networks and intra-host networks within biological hosts. Neuro-regional translations are performed to route communications to and from the biological hosts. Bioregional translation may also be performed to route communications to and from the biological hosts. Basically, yeah, this is like...
Yeah, what did that even mean? What did you just say to me?
It's just like, hey, how are we going to signal all of the electrical things through our biology? And AT&T here is like, they're like, hey, we got a patent to do it. More creepiness.
This is a patent from AT&T for some brain-computer interfaces, huh?
I think either brain-computer, it's mainly brain, but I think they're going after any kind of biological system is kind of what they're trying to say here. So
that's even creepier, the vague biological system term.
Yeah, it's bad. And as sort of it just so happens that Truth Stream Media just published a video yesterday about the technological resurrection that is being promoted by Zoltan Istvan, our favorite politician, transhumanist politician. And I'll drop a link in the description, or not the description, the chat. You guys should check that video out. They do a good job of summarizing it. And Mel over there at Truth Stream mentions my Twitter feed, where Zoltan came in and started to talk about how, hey, if you can simulate the love of Jesus in your brain, then, hey, isn't that the same thing? And
oh my gosh,
Mel disagrees, and I tend to disagree as well. But yeah, a little creepy, creepy. More creepiness.
And for those who don't know, every show is somebody's first show. And so we try to keep that in mind. Zoltan Istvan is a politician we've been following for a while. Well, he's not, I guess technically he's a politician now, but he was the leader of the transhumanist political party, which believes, they're slightly libertarian, but also believe in using technology to instigate technocracy, which is, something we talk a lot about on this show, which is the belief that, technology can save us from everything, and we'll be better off if we can just upload our minds to the cloud and live out our days as computers. And he actually threw his hat in the ring. He was running as a Republican against incumbent Trump here for a while, but then coronavirus happened and everybody kind of stopped campaigning, and he also stopped campaigning. But he is still actively putting out his transhumanist message, and more and more we see that message starting to get grabbed a hold of. It's interesting when we talked about Zoltan years ago, and nobody really knew, nobody really cared. We were talking about technocracy, and it was mostly just the pretty fringy people who were interested in hearing about it. But recently, we've gotten a lot of people kind of pushing back. It's talking about, why are we so against technocracy? If we can make the world a better place with machines, why don't we? And that's just kind of the dangerous attitude that we're trying to illuminate. And for those who don't know, transhumanism and technocracy do pop up in biblical prophecy. And that's it's also part of what we track around here. So you know what? We've been warned about it, so we're just keeping our eyes open for the parts of it that we should not be jumping on board with. But I
Right.
think most of our listeners are all on board with that.
Yeah, and also just if you watch that video, they highlight Zoltan's comment about how within 50 years they're going to be 3D printing all these people that have died, and he calls it quantum archaeology, and they're all going to be walking around like we're gonna bring Hitler back so we can put him on trial and things like that. So
Quantum archaeology, that doesn't even make sense. That's
and
great.
yeah,
Cool
that's
words, cool big words.
cool words, Zoltan. Keep it up, buddy.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take this one here. This
Sure.
is Pathos. We got a couple articles about rituals. Everyone's sitting at home, captive audience, and the people that need ritual, they're doing it online too. How to hold a group ritual online. Thank you to these people that are teaching all the people that previously were doing seances.
Use your words. What are you saying?
Let me get through this article. Okay, so this article, or it's not an article, I guess it's just kind of an opinion piece, but it goes through kind of the way you get online. Pick a conference system, pick a coordinator, get the software, adapt the ritual. Whatever ritual the group uses will need to be amended for the video conference format. One ritual writer might be responsible for the write, or the group might make joint decisions about what to do. The coordinator will need to circulate the amended ritual to the group before the conference. And let me go through here.
So when you're saying ritual here, you're talking about like witchcraft, stuff like that.
I think so,
Not just
yeah.
like you got to brush your teeth before bed type of ritual.
No. This is like, establish the astral temple to connect members.
Of course.
Who are physically separated. The group will need to create or reinforce an astral temple. Here are some ideas. A circular clearing in a grove of ancient trees, an open-air temple of white marble pillars with the white marble floor, an island in the center of a deep blue lake. Before the conference, the ritual leader should visualize the temple and set it up for the group. Every group member can also visit the temple and put energy into sustaining it. And also set up individual altars. Every member of the group can set up a personal altar for the ritual. Any small table or even a corner of a desk will do. The altar can have an altar cloth, a small bowl of water, small bowl of salt, an incense holder with a stick or cone of incense, any deity images appropriate for the ritual, seasonal items like flowers or leaves appropriate to the ritual foods, such as wine and cakes. The computer or phone can be on the altar or next to it. When the group meets physically, the group casts a circle in a single room. With a video ritual, each member casts the circle in their own room using the tools on their altar. At the same time, each member participates in the astral temple, where the group is collectively calling quarters and casting the circle. Here's one way to think about it. The individual circles are all gates to the astral temple where everyone is meeting. We talk about the image of the beast and the worship of the image being a demand, or mandatory, or else be killed in this end times thing. And we always talked about, well, how's that going to look with people going to temples? It's kind of hard for everyone to. Well, now with this COVID thing and everybody being online, they're moving all that ritual stuff online, and they're just flat out telling you the little circles are portals.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So there you go. Everybody out there who is so offended by googly eyes and jokes on a fringe Christian news show, you can go out and write your blogs and do your debunked videos about Gons teaching cyber witchcraft on the show.
Yeah,
Gons, you just gave us a step-by-step on the cyber witchcraft.
I'm not doing. That's not what I'm doing.
I'm just joking, Gons. Everybody knows I'm joking, except for those people who take it seriously. But yeah, you know what? This is really interesting because it had occurred to me, and I'm sure with a little bit of digging we could find it and figure it out, but it occurred to me that virtual reality, well, video games in general and virtual reality specifically, could be used as this sort of proxy experience for doing these rituals, and things like Second Life, MMORPGs, these sort of sandbox games, Minecraft, even. I don't know. Hey, I'm not
Well,
saying your
that's
kid's
the
playing
thing.
Minecraft or off doing witchcraft, but somebody could use these, virtual spaces. Now, this is kind of, your mom's virtual witchcraft, where they're
Right.
just on Skype and asking people to imagine their sacred grove. But on certain things like Second Life and Minecraft and other things like that, it could very much be a more immersive experience. If that matters to these people, I don't even really know if that matters. But
I think
very
eventually,
interesting.
eventually, what they're going to try to do, or try to say anyway, is that
Mhm.
some kind of virtual experience or some kind of avatar experience is going to be a representation of the astral plane, and
Right.
a one-to-one type of digitization of something unseen, and because we can maybe or people can see it in their mind or whatever, now they can see it on a screen. It's really just
Hmm.
it's very interesting how so much of the computer world is, it's supposed to be this mechanical thing, but really it's just making all the things unseen visible. It's a very strange phenomenon that we've been covering
Totally.
for a while here. But
I
there's a
agree.
second part to
Very
this.
interesting. Good find. How'd you find
Yeah.
that? Did somebody send
Uh,
it to you?
no, I search pagan news every single day and try to find. No, I'm just kidding. I
You
just
got it in your Google alert for
yeah,
fun
I got
pastimes during the
yeah.
coronavirus.
And this goes hand in hand here. This is an insider.com article. Modern day witches are holding Zoom coven meetings to continue ritual spells
Ah,
and the
there it
occult.
is.
And there it is. You got your your Zoom right in the middle of a pentagram. And yep,
It's really
candles.
making the whole coven thing a little bit less spooky when it's all on a Zoom meeting.
I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, similarly, churches are using Zoom and Skype and things like that to do services.
Uh-oh,
So
infiltration.
the battle of the online ritual.
Yeah,
Worship God or worship witches and
that's
animals
right.
and stuff.
Okay,
Aleister
well,
Crowley
that's
mentioned.
good. That's that thing. That really, that's actually, we're making jokes, but that's actually a very interesting thing to have found. And yeah, of course that's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'll keep an eye out, see if I see anything funky happening in the virtual reality space. And with that, Gons, I want to take a little break. Are you ready for a little break?
I will break
Okay, I want
you.
to
I will
head
break you.
over to Twitch, twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, where all the cool kids watch live. Right now, we're sitting at 73 live viewers. Guys, come on. We just got to be chilling at 75. So if you're watching on YouTube or anywhere else across the net, head to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. The reason that we keep pushing this is Gonz and I, we need to average 75 average viewers. Twitch is a much better place to be doing these live streams. YouTube, as we all know, filled with censorship. Even Susie Wojcicki herself follows us on Twitch, and that's true. You can hop in there and say hi to her. But with shadow banning and censorship and YouTube coming out and specifically saying they're banning and deleting videos that say anything against official HWO, World Health Organization guidelines, well, that puts us in the line of fire, folks. So the way to keep us going and the best way to get our live content is to go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And it's a great way for Gonzo and I to support ourselves during this difficult time. We are we are your essential employees. We do this show. That's all we got going on right now, folks. So that being said, if you want to support the show financially, you can do that at patreon.com/CCNT. Or if you're not a fan of Patreon, which we totally understand, head over to canarycryradio.com/support. But a great way to help us out is to follow us at twitch.tv/canarycryradio and watch the show live there. And just to clear up a question or two, some people were friending us on Twitch, but not following us. You need to follow us as well. You can friend us too, but just follow us. And to give a couple shout outs to some of our newest Twitch followers, we've got Sentient Roomba, finally made it over. Sentient Roomba from the Canary Cry community.
I like that name.
Thanks for being here, buddy. We've got hold on. This is the fun part. I brought this up last show. You've had your YouTube account for years. You just kind of picked whatever name you liked at the time. But starting a Twitch account lets you get a new lease on life. Get a funnier username, a better username. And this is my attempt to try to read some of people's new usernames. Thomo. Thank you very much. This is one of my favorite. Basil is an herb. Thank you, user. Basil is an herb. Tomato juice. Thank you, tomato juice. Eleuthero maniac. Juju eyeballs. Thank you for following Juju eyeballs. Table tactics. Sounds fun. Rainbow 777. And a whole lot more. You guys have really been answering the call on following us on Twitch. Please do that, but also please watch live. Okay, that's all I got. Let's get back to the show, Gons.
Demonic power!
Let me do you want to mix in COVID stuff, or are we going to do all the COVID stuff at the end?
Well, you kind of brought up COVID with the food thing already, but let's do the Egypt thing.
Okay, give it to me.
All right, CNN.com, your most reliable source ever.
Mm-hmm.
Mummies discovered in burial shaft in Egypt.
That's fun.
Right now, most of us can only explore the pyramids and archaeological wonders of Egypt online, but excavations and explorations into the country's ancient past remain ongoing. Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities has announced the unearthing of 5 limestone sarcophagi and 4 wooden coffins containing human mummies. These incredible archaeological finds were inside a burial shaft stretching 9 meters below ground. This shaft is located in Sacred Animal Necropolis in Saqqara, an ancient burial ground that's about 20 miles south of Cairo, and is also home to landmarks including the Step Pyramid, considered to be the world's oldest. Details of the discovery were shared via video, blah, blah, blah. Also excavated from the shaft were an incredible array of small artifacts, including 365 faience ushabti figurines, some inscribed with hieroglyphics. Ushabti are objects, usually small statues, that were buried in Egyptian graves to aid the body in its afterlife. Inside the burial shaft, there was also a small wooden obelisk, about 40 centimeters tall, painted with scenes featuring the Egyptian goddesses Isis, associated with rebirth, and Nephthys, associated with death, and the god Horus, one of the most renowned ancient Egyptian deities that I'm sure everyone at CNN is forced to worship to work there. These small artifacts are removed from the shaft for restoration purposes. The sarcophagi and wooden coffins are being restored inside the shaft, says the Ministry of Tourism of Antiquities. Archaeological work began in this area in April 2018 and remains ongoing. And there you go. I mean, there's some pictures here of what they found. And speaking of resurrection and technological resurrection, they show stuff like this in movies. What movie was it? I think it was a Transformers movie where something they basically wake up or maybe it was a Marvel. I can't remember which one it was. I'm not good with the movies. Yeah.
Was it The Mummy?
No, it wasn't The Mummy, although that is also one of these, resurrecting ancient Egyptian gods themes. But
Brendan Fraser?
Some
sweet Brendan Fraser fame.
Yeah, my favorite movie growing up, Encino Man. Okay, just some obscure references there. But yeah, so I don't know. There's obviously Egypt has been the heart of the occult and what some of these elite people are curious about and interested in. And as far as my understanding of eschatology, Egypt is supposed to be a little bit more of a powerhouse when it comes to the end times. and maybe
Yeah.
they're just continuing to unleash some of these ancient artifacts and things that have some kind of supernatural power, and you just got to keep an eye on what they're releasing to the public, because
Well, it is
you never know.
interesting because remember that mummy that they found? I think it was last year, maybe 2018, and the sarcophagus was filled with like this black goo, and the internet
Right.
was begging to be able to drink the black goo. You remember this?
I don't know about drinking black goo, but I remember
I don't
of
know,
it.
man. All I'm saying is we found a mummy last year, and it was filled with black goo, and now coronavirus is covering the earth.
Eh, okay, so
Hey, I'm
Basil's
just
theory is
just connecting the dots, man.
connecting dots. So yeah, here's some. They found a couple of balls in there too, and there you go. That's the story basically.
Nice.
Just keeping an eye, because it's always a mystery what goes on in Egypt there, and what they're unearthing, and they're always trying to look for artifacts. Why are they keeping? Why do they keep wanting to find these artifacts? Is it just to understand our past, or are they trying to find some
Knowledge, the
kind of
secret
secret weapon?
knowledge, Guns.
Yep.
The mystery knowledge that will enlighten and illuminate the human race.
Yes.
Which is interesting. I mean, that's where a lot of the mystery religions are based around ancient Egyptian uh, practices and beliefs. And I'm just saying, they opened up that sarcophagus last year, and suddenly we have this world-shifting event of coronavirus. And you've seen a lot of people. I think we talked about it a couple shows ago. This sort of turn in conversation going on around coronavirus, people saying that this is the moment that we all learn, to live from our astral selves and live in harmony, type of thing.
Yeah.
So
A
I
lot
don't
of
know.
one world stuff going on, the
A
concert
lot
and
of
all
one
that.
world stuff.
Yeah.
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 Okay, my turn, Gons. Let's talk about some COVID. That's right. I'm going to read from BBC.com here, Guns. Big time here.
Oh yeah.
Coronavirus outcry as Spanish beach sprayed with bleach.
Anime?
Zahara, what?
Sorry, I was just making a
No,
stupid anime joke.
making a funny joke. Sahara de los Atunes near Cadiz used tractors to spray more than 2 kilometers of beach with a bleach solution a day before Spain allowed children out of lockdown for the first time. Environmentalists say the move caused quote brutal damage to the local ecosystem. Spain has been badly affected by the coronavirus with 23,800 deaths. It recently announced a 4-phase plan to lift its stringent lockdown measures and return to a quote new normality by the end of June. Maria Dolores Iglesias, who heads an environmental volunteer group in the Cadiz region, said she had visited the beach at Zahar de los Atunes and seen the damage for herself. She said the beach, quote, the bleach. Wow, this is tough read. Beach and bleach. She said the bleach killed everything on the ground. Nothing is seen, not even insects. The bleach and its dunes are protected breeding and nesting places for migratory birds. And Miss Iglesias said she had seen at least one nest with eggs destroyed by the tractors. Quote, bleach is used as a very powerful disinfectant, as we all know now, thanks to the president. It is logical that it be used to disinfect streets and asphalt, but here the damage has been brutal, she told Spanish media. Quote, they have devastated the dune spaces and gone against all rules. It has been an aberration what they have done. Also, taking into account that the virus lives in people and not on the beach. It is crazy. Miss Iglesias said that because of the lockdown, wildlife had been thriving on the beach. Quote, the beach has its own way of cleaning itself. like a cat. It was not. That was my editorialization there. It was not necessary, she said. Quote, they do not think that this is a living ecosystem, but a lot of land. Local official Agustin Conejo admitted it was, quote, a wrong move. I admit that it was a mistake. It was done with the best of intention, he said. Mr. Conejo said they had wanted to protect children who were coming to see the sea after 6 weeks in confinement. The Andalusian regional government is now considering fining the local authority for its action. El País newspaper reports. Greenpeace in Spain drew a comparison with the controversial statements. Okay, hold on. Before I get to that last part. So, there you go. They loaded up a bleach solution in a tractor and sprayed down 2 kilometers of beach, which is pretty crazy. I mean, I don't think I qualify as a true hardcore eco person, green person, but this is just common sense. Especially in a beach where we know that UV light and sunshine and heat kills the virus. A beach is, that sand can get hot. You ever try to walk across the beach on a hot day without your flip-flops on, Gons? That'll burn the soles right off your feet.
Yeah,
so there's no way that the virus would survive. And yes, spraying bleach along the coastline of the ocean, obviously not a great idea. This just goes against, I'll say, I probably qualify as a common sense eco person. I'm not trying to go crazy. I think we humans need to find a good way to use the resources we're given, but this is not a common sense way of taking care of the situation. Even if you are trying to prepare it for children, why would you spray, dangerous chemicals on a place where these children are going to go play? Doesn't make any sense.
Maybe.
But here's, yeah.
I was going to say maybe Joe Biden and his hairy legs needs to go there.
That's true. Biden does love it when little boys and girls touch his hairy legs. He said it himself.
He said it himself. I know.
That's his own words.
Economic intercourse as well. Another one of Joe's.
I saw that getting bannered about. I have not seen the source for this economic intercourse thing, but it sounds.
Oh, he said it. He said it. Boy, he said it.
Wow. I'm really not worried about that guy anymore.
He's entertaining. Presidents are puppets anyway. It would be nice to have him just up there. Just let him talk,
Yeah.
Make him the puppet president and just let him talk, or make him think he won. I just think it would be way more entertaining than anything we got going on.
Grandpa Bear on YouTube makes a good point. He says, "Where's Greta speaking out against this?"
Yeah, where's Greta?
Yeah, Greta should not be happy about this.
No. It reminds me.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Go ahead. The kicker, go.
No.
Kicker.
I want to hear your reminding.
Oh, okay. When I was a swimmer, I was a competitive swimmer throughout all of high school and also college, and my college coach was a little off. We were warming up one morning for a swim meet at the pool. We're in the water. We're swimming. Well, apparently the coach forgot to put the chlorine in the water the night before. And you're a couple days before. You're supposed to wait.
Gosh.
There's supposed to be a few hours of, letting the chlorine dissolve into the water. Well, we were warming up. We were in the water, and I out of the corner of my eye, I noticed my coach ripping open these giant bags of chlorine and start dumping it into the pool while we were in the water, and our swimsuits were dark blue when we got in. They were sky blue when we got out. Everyone's hairs were singed, and he didn't last. He was a nightmare. He was excused of his duties the following year. But
was he really?
Yeah, he was.
Good.
Well, it wasn't just because of that. He was doing other things.
Okay.
But
well, we don't need to get too deep into that. Furious Cabbage over on YouTube says, "Bleaching the beach sounds like a Dr. Seuss book." I think that's very good. Very good. Okay, here's the kicker, Gons. Are you ready? We just heard about Spain. blasting their beaches with bleach, and this is BBC. It all has to do with Spain ruining their ecosystem. And at the last moment here, Greenpeace in Spain drew a comparison with the controversial statements by U.S. President Donald Trump, who suggested that injecting patients with disinfectant might help treat coronavirus. They just couldn't get away. They could not close out the article without taking a jab at old Donnie, huh?
Yeah, they don't. Nobody likes him
I know.
in any of these things. Not that we're like so for him, but just
No, he
it
just
makes
can't
it
win.
makes it hard to
That's fine.
talk about it without.
It's good for the show. I like watching him get made fun of. That's okay. Hey, you know what? He ain't a perfect man. I know a lot of our listeners are big Trump fans, and that's totally cool. You do you, baby. But it's funny how these mainstream media mainstream media outlets they can't print a single story without relating it back to Donald Trump.
Well, they got to keep the money coming in.
It's an obsession.
I think it's a requirement from some strand of up on high to keep the money flowing to these organizations to continue to exist, basically. So they got to write something.
That's right. Okay, so there you go. That's what's going on in Spain. I thought that was pretty interesting. And one more here, Gons. Get me that COVID-19 jingle again. Yeah.
COVID.
Love it. Do we remember who made us that jingle? Did you make it? Who made that?
No, I did not make it. That was a producer as well.
Me.
Yes.
Yeah, whoever sent it, thank you very much. This is yahoo.com or news.yahoo.com.
Wrong article. No, I'm on the wrong article. Sorry, go ahead.
You're on the wrong article. Okay, news.yahoo.com. Very interesting. I've kind of noticed that Yahoo skews to the right a little bit, which is kind of interesting. I don't know who they got in charge over there. I think it might be worth a little bit of a dive because I've noticed not on this particular article, but they've definitely got some more right-leaning opinions than most mainstream places. Anyways, here we go. News.yahoo.com. Dogs being trained to sniff out COVID-19, charity. Okay. Now, this was from last month, so if you've already seen this, that's okay. We're going to talk about it. A British charity has teamed up with scientists to see whether dogs could help detect COVID-19 through their keen sense of smell, they said on Friday. Medical detection dogs will work with the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, LSHTM. I don't know if that's any faster than just saying it all out. Anyways, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and Durham University in Northeast England to determine whether canines could help diagnoses. It follows previous research into dogs' ability to sniff out malaria and is based on a belief that each disease triggers a distinct odor. The organization said they had begun preparations to train dogs in 6 weeks, quote, to help provide a rapid, non-invasive diagnosis towards the tail end of the epidemic. See what they did there? The charity has previously trained dogs to detect diseases such as cancer, Parkinson's, and bacterial infections by sniffing samples taken from patients. They can also detect subtle changes in skin temperature, potentially making them useful to determining if a person has a fever. Okay, we already got something for that. It's called a thermometer, but that's okay. Get those dogs sniffing. Quote, in principle, we're sure that dogs could detect COVID-19. In principle, we're sure that dogs could detect COVID-19, said Claire Guest, founder and chief executive of Medical Detection Dogs. Quote, we are now looking into how we can safely catch the odor of the virus from patients and present it to the dogs. The aim is that dogs will be able to screen anyone, including those who are asymptomatic, and tell us whether they need to be tested. This would be fast, effective, and non-invasive, and make sure the limited NHS testing resources are only used when they are really needed. The head of disease control at the LSHTM said dogs could detect malaria with, quote, extremely high accuracy, and as other respiratory diseases changed body odor, there was a very high chance it could also work with COVID-19. Detection dogs could be deployed at airports at the end of the epidemic to rapidly identify people carrying the virus, helping prevent the reemergence of the disease. According to Steve Lindsay from Durham University, over 500,000 coronavirus infections have now been blah, blah, blah. They do their own, they wrap it up at the end there. But there you go, Gons. Soon we're just going to have, dogs stationed on the street corners and the airports. I could see this in airports, where once travel kind of opens back up and people start moving, you're going to have the drug sniffing dog and you're going to have the COVID sniffing dog. It kind of paints a little bit of a spooky picture for me. What do you think?
I'm just waiting for someone to be like, hey, we have to merge with the dogs to keep up with the ability to sense stuff. We've got to merge with AI. Why not the dog? The dogs are much more useful than AI, it looks like.
A little brain swapping. Little brain swapping on the dogs.
Brain machine dog interface.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of, the thing that popped into my mind when I saw this story was, maybe I'm a little bit paranoid. Maybe I'm a little too conspiratorial. But the image of Nazis and their German shepherds sniffing out people hiding during World War II really came to my mind.
Bezos and his robot dogs too. If they equip those robot dogs with the abilities that natural dogs have, then we got a real big problem.
That's the funniest part about it. That's a perfect point. That's the funniest part about it. We already have laser thermometers that can take your temperature from like 100 feet away, and I'm sure Bezos's robot dog would be way more effective than these cute boys.
Leave the pups alone.
Leave the pups alone.
Let them live.
They don't want any part of your
COVID
dystopian tyranny government. Speaking of which, I wanted to mention real quick, I'll say it before heading into this next story because it's connected. No, it's not. Where is it? Oh, let's jump down to this one right there in a second. There were some questions. Not questions. Comments. Mean comments on the YouTube about last show. I talked about how I couldn't wait for my antibody test regarding COVID-19, and everybody, was certain that I'm part of the Illuminati and part of the global conspiracy to take over the world. Not saying I'm not that, but when I said I was stoked for the antibody test, hello, use your brain, people, and I said it in the episode. I want to get my antibody test because if I have the antibodies, then I don't have to get the vaccine. So use your head. That's all I have to say. All right, Hit me with that NWO jingle, baby.
A new world order can emerge.
That's right. This is from WashingtonTimes.com. And it's to be noted here, the Washington Times is admittedly a right-leaning sort of opinion news out. A lot of us today. Sorry about that, folks. My brain's moving a little slow.
Publication.
It's a right-leaning publication. So Washington Times, Georgia kicks off chilling door-to-door COVID-19 blood collections. This really is chilling, especially when you get the dogs involved. But it says here, this is an analysis and opinion. Let the government-pressed coronavirus-tied blood collections of citizens begin. And begin they have. They have in Georgia, at least, where the state's Department of Public Health recently announced in cooperation with both Fulton County and DeKalb County's Board of Health that, quote, to learn more about the spread of COVID-19, an investigation has commenced, and it's an investigation that's leading government officials to make random stops at randomly selected residences and ask random citizens for, get this, their blood. Citizens' DNA in the hands of unelected government officials. What could go wrong here? Specifically, Georgia's health wonks want to know, quote, the percentage of people in the community who have been infected with the virus that causes COVID-19. A statement on the state's Department of Public Health webpage reads, and to get that data, the government needs citizens' blood, don't you know? Oh, it's completely voluntary. It's completely up to the good citizens of Georgia to decide whether or not to turn over their blood to the government. Georgia's DPH makes that clear in its statement. In fact, the whole announcement sounds rather tame and sound and sensible and quote, help thy neighbor and so forth and so on. Cue State Farm music with the twist. Quote, like a good neighbor, the government is here. You gotta love these opinion pieces.
Very
Everybody's a
snappy.
comedian. Yes.
Yeah, very.
We all want to do our part for the good of society after all. Quote, teams will be visiting randomly selected homes in Fulton and DeKalb counties to ask residents questions about their health and collect blood samples for an antibody test. The release states antibodies are proteins. Yeah, we know what antibodies are. There you go. Then they talk about, kind of how to respond to these people when they come to your door. Ask
Where's my blood going?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a
Where's
good question.
it going? Who gets it? Who has access to my children's blood? All this sort of thing.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't like this at all. The
No.
idea of government officials coming by, and even if it's voluntary, of course, if you do give them your blood, they're going to write it down on a list, and your address will be, associated with compliant individuals. And of course, if you resist and don't give them your blood, you'll go on another list of non-compliant individuals, and that's just how the government works. So yeah, mix this with the dogs. I'm not a fan, Gons.
Yeah, the blood thing. Yeah, I mean, the voluntary part. It's always interesting how they always frame it as voluntary, but they'll the same thing with vaccines for the most part. They're like, it's here to help you. We're here to help. So give up your blood so Hillary Clinton can go drink them.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I have not seen. I think there was one company offering mail-in coronavirus tests. I'm trying to think of the company, but it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. Some people in the chat talking DNA harvesting. Yeah, a lot of that's going on too. I think they just want more of our information. It's not enough to collect our data from Facebook and Twitter and all that. They need our blood. They need our DNA. They need all of it. The more they have, the more they can control us.
And they're gonna get it, Gons. They always get their man.
No, I know.
And with that, let's take another little break here. I'm going to head over to the Twitch, call out some more new Twitch followers. I saw a little while back people saying they were making the jump. And like I said before, if this is your first time tuning into this live stream here, the best place to tune in is twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. YouTube famously with their shadow banning and censorship and things like that, especially concerning COVID-19 news and reports. Twitch is the place to go, folks. We are trying to hit 75 average concurrent viewers. That's going to help Gons and I support ourselves during this time. We are essential. We are your essential employees, folks. So if you want to help us out, a great way to do that is to follow us at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. I want to thank some of the Twitch. Incarnate Unlimited had dipped from the Twitch stream, went over to YouTube, and started evangelizing the Twitch channel. So thank you very much,
all right.
Incarnate Unlimited. And some new Twitch followers I want to call out. We got Uloth74. We got Steel345. We got Sul, CSSUL. Hi. We got Jane Guns 777, and we got Nate Turk. What's up, buddy? Thank you guys very much for viewing on the Twitch. We're also going to be streaming some video games now that we got a little bit more time. If you are a gamer, if you know a gamer, if you don't know what your kid is doing all day, locked in their room, you're going to want to follow our channel because we're going to be playing some games, especially some VR games, and analyzing and dissecting the messaging, the elite messaging that's in those games as it pertains to everything we talk about on the show. So that's the place to be. We're not just doing the news talks there. We'll also be diving into some games. So I highly recommend everybody do that. We are almost to 1,000 followers. 939 followers. I'm so excited about that. But that also means you should be watching live over on Twitch because that helps Gonz and I out quite a bit. Also, real quick, just to mention, and I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end. Like I said, we are your essential employees. We only get to do this show because you're not just listeners, but you're producers. Some of you create music, sound effects for the show, jingles. A lot, we get a lot of help from our listeners, and that includes financial support. And so, if you are looking for a way, if you find value in what we do, we subscribe to the value for value model. We have had plenty of opportunities to advertise. We get propositioned, I think that's the appropriate term for that whole system. We get propositioned to advertise not infrequently, and a lot of times by some pretty big organizations. But we made the decision a while back that selling your attention for our own personal gain is not worth losing the sleep that we would if we did that. Now, that being said, we do count on our listeners to return value that they get out of the show. So if you get value out of the show, please consider returning some of that value. One great way to do that is go to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. Sign up there. We got all sorts of fun rewards, including a bunch of bonus episodes available for you there. So you get more show for your buck. Also, if you don't like Patreon, we totally understand. There's some problems there. I get it. You can go to canarycryradio.com/support. And there you can get all sorts of other fun ways to support us, including cryptocurrency, PayPal, all sorts of fun stuff. Okay.
Are you doing the troll thing, or are we going into our Nephilim update?
Yeah, let's talk about the troll thing real quick.
Okay.
We'll just do it really quick because this was interesting. And I think it's another piece of sort of some mind control and just some general lies. I mean, I don't know. And I want people in the chat to pay attention here because I want to know what your experience has been. This is from Business Insider, and it's trolls and bots are flooding social media with disinformation, encouraging states to end quarantine. You know that thing that like pretty much everybody wants? No, it's all trolls and bots.
It's all trolls.
Yeah, let's keep going here. Videos of protesters around the nation demanding their governors reopen businesses have been all over social media over the past week or so. And Donald Trump has offered pseudo encouragement by tweeting that they need to, quote, liberate states like Michigan, Minnesota, and Virginia. That's a misrepresentation of what he was talking about, but okay. The same rhetoric that is being used at these protests has been spreading like wildfire on social media as bots and trolls attempt to use disinformation to get states to reopen. Christopher Boozy, the founder of bot tracking platform Bot Sentinel, conducted a Twitter analysis for Business Insider and found bots and trolls are using hashtags like hashtag reopen NC, Reopen America Now, Stop the Madness, and the Shutdown, and hashtag Operation Gridlock to spread disinformation. According to Boozy, the bots and trolls are spreading conspiracy theories about Democrats wanting to hurt the economy to make Trump look bad. Democrats trying to take away people's civil liberties, and Democrats trying to prevent people from voting. The accounts are also using false data to underplay the threat of the coronavirus. Quote, we use machine learning and artificial intelligence to classify accounts. You are being classified and categorized using AI, just so everybody knows. Quote, back in 2018, I trained the initial model using 2,500 normal Twitter accounts and 2,500 inauthentic accounts I was tracking for several months. Approximately 5 million tweets were used to create the first model. Inauthentic accounts are amplifying disinformation and inaccurate statistics and sharing false information as a reason to reopen the country, Boozy says. Many of these accounts are also spreading bizarre conspiracy theories about Democrats using COVID-19 as a way to take away American freedoms and prevent Americans from voting. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it must be the bots that convinced the New York governor to shut down voting in his state. He must be a bot. When reached for comment, a Twitter spokesperson disputed the idea that the company is allowing bots and trolls to spread disinformation on its platform and criticized Bot Sentinel's methodology, which uses publicly available information from the company. Ironically, Twitter pointed out to its bi-yearly transparency report, which supposedly uses unreleased private data as a superior indicator of bot activity, but it only provides general figures on how many spam challenges and reports the platform sees. Quote, with respect to COVID-19, we're prioritizing content that contains a call to action that could cause potential physical harm, the spokesperson said. Under these, our expanded policies, we've removed more than 22,000 tweets.
2,200.
2,200, which seems pretty small.
Kind of low.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you have, anyways, doubled down on tech, our automated systems have challenged more than 3.4 million accounts. There we go, which are targeting discussions around COVID-19 with spammy or manipulative behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how much more of this. Oh, there's quite a bit more. I think we get the point here.
We get the point.
Yeah,
I would like to add to just first off, for once,
I'm for the robots.
And also, I think I've contributed to this bot thing with a tweet that I made, I think yesterday or the day before. And I said, in California, you're approximately 10 times more likely to get injured or die from a car accident since the lockdown, 0.03%, than you are from COVID-19, 0.004%. And I show my math and how I got to those numbers. I'm using their numbers. I'm not like fidgeting numbers. I'm using their numbers and the population of California and everything else, at least for California here where I live. And yeah, I mean, come on, this is not, let's get real, folks. This is not a real problem. Something else is going on. Most of you guys listening understand that. But, you know, on Twitter, it's like this kind of tweet isn't going to get anywhere. And if it gets in front of the wrong people, it's going to be like, bleh, you know, all the crazy slaves.
Well, that's kind of my question, because like a lot of the things stated in this article are like pretty normal attitudes and pretty normal ideas that like not even far right people I know have. You know, and to say that all this is bot content is pretty wild, especially when you see how big these protests are that popping up around the state. It's like, again, they're asking you to disbelieve what you see with your eyes, to believe some guy who says he trained an artificial intelligence to identify bots. Like, if I don't get it. Are the people out there, are the thousands and tens of thousands, and I don't even know what the real number is, but so many people out protesting and, you know, talking about this stuff, are they bots too? Are they sentient life forms, androids walking around that the Russians sent in to spread disinformation? This is just like a blatant slap in the face of anybody who criticizes an official story. This is very offensive.
It's interesting because this whole thing has really brought to the forefront the scientific dictatorship, and how the view of the scientific dictatorship saying it's this, whereas in reality, you step outside, you look around, and it's like, no, it doesn't seem like it's that. The nurses dancing. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on that doesn't match what the fear, all the fear that's being pressed out there. And I was actually watching, I don't know why, but I was watching local news, and they were talking, there was a report yesterday about a dog catching coronavirus. And I'm going, if they're going to have to report locally here in California that dogs are getting it, and we're not talking about like stories of people dying and all kinds of stuff, what are we doing? Come on, this is ridiculous.
I know.
I'm over it. I'm going outside, Basil. I'm gonna go dig some holes in the ground to grow food.
I know. Apparently, everything can get coronavirus now, which is unfortunate. Yeah. I do want to give a shout out to Crystal's Abundant Life in Twitch. She said, first time on Twitch, biting the bullet for Canary Cry. So thank you, Crystal, for biting the bullet for us. Awesome. So yeah, I don't know, man. This whole article is a real slap in the face to anybody who doesn't just eat the pap. Eat the pap, slave.
Yep. Let's start to wrap things up here. I don't think we've done a whole lot of Nephilim updates while ever since we started live streaming. And you
Right.
know, for folks that are critical of hey, I get a lot of comments on my YouTube channel. Hey, get rid of that guy with the googly eyes. I don't know when he
Yeah.
started showing up.
If
And
I can't see his eyes, I can't trust him. I only trust those anchors on CNN that I can see their eyes.
I was gonna say maybe, you know, if eyes are the only thing that matter, maybe I should cover my note I should do the
Yeah,
COVID
there you go.
mask. I'll just go under. Yeah,
You wear
there
a
you go.
COVID mask, and
I'll wear a
I'll
COVID
wear the
mask.
googly eyes. We'll really
Yeah.
freak people out.
All right, so I'm gonna do this last Nephilim update with my mouth covered to not show what's going on here.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Boy.
This is hurting my back. Who was Azazel? Christianity.com? Really?
Oh,
who was Azazel? I'm not going to read most of it because, you know, you guys know what's up. But this was interesting. What do we know about Azazel from the Apocrypha? In the Apocrypha, Azazel is a leader of rebellious angels as seen in the Book of Enoch. He leads the pre-flood civilization of men, giants, perhaps Nephilim, in all matters of warfare and witchcraft. Once beautiful and now a fallen serpent or carrion bird, Azazel, according to Hebraic literature, tried to corrupt humanity. Most Jewish literature describes him as having a red appearance like a demon, with yellow eyes and wearing goat skulls. It also appears that, according to Jewish mythology, Azazel led the charge in having sexual relations with mortal women and having half-divine, half-human children. Led the charge.
He led the charge.
He was okay. This is hurting my back. All right, I'm going to sit normal.
Okay.
Yes, the half divine, half human children known as the Nephilim. What's interesting about Azazel is that he has corrupted humanity so much that Jewish literature encourages readers to listeners to ascribe all sin onto him. In other words, scapegoat him. Place your sins on him as you did with the goat before driving it out into the desert. This may be why we see the word Azazel in place of scapegoat in the original Hebrew in Leviticus, Leviticus 16 passage. Why does this matter? Granted, any piece of literature that is not part of the biblical canon needs to be read with discernment and caution. Basil, I'm pretty sure Nephilim are in the canon, but not according to Christianity.com. However, this can give us a glimpse into the ancient Jewish practice. And this practice bears a significant meaning because Jesus serves as our scapegoat on the cross. Christians may debate about the nature of the Nephilim or whether a fallen angel named Azazel led the charge in creating a generation of giants, but we do know that even mythology and the Apocrypha have kernels of truth. We can learn from the Jewish practice of the scapegoat. Like the mythological Azazel, we have become corrupted and fallen away from the goodness of God. But because Jesus serves as our scapegoat, our sins have been driven far away from us. Psalm 103:12. You know, I just think it's strange how, as the knowledge of the Nephilim becomes more and more common amongst believers, even like Christianity Today are forced to kind of talk about it and bring it up in an article. And hey, you know, that's probably a decent thing, but again, it's so surfacey with this kind of stuff. But the carrion bird, did you know about that, Basil? And the fallen serpent thing, but
the carrion bird, no.
Yeah, I don't know what that's really all about. I got to do a little more research on that. But you know what? Hey, Christianity Today bringing up the Nephilim.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Boy.
I will say, for all the other gamer boys and girls out there, every time you heard Gon say Azazel, you were probably yelling, Azazel.
Yeah, I know.
He pops up in some video games.
Tomato, you know?
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, yeah, I guess we can start winding it down. How are we doing on time? It feels like we've just been...
Well, we're about,
I
think we're close to an hour and a half.
Over an hour and a half. Yeah, it looks like. Okay. Well, that's great. I want to thank everybody for watching live. It's really fun. It's really a fun way to do it. We had to take that week off last week. And when we got back into it here, we realized how much we missed having the chat buzz by and all this fun stuff. So Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and especially thank you, those who made the switch over to twitch.tv, Canary Cry Radio, best place to watch the show live. Even Susan Wojcicki, Gigi, CEO of YouTube herself, is a follower of us over on Twitch, and that's not a joke. You can find her over there on our follower list. I want to just thank a couple more users. I already thanked Crystal's Abundant Life. I also want to thank The Gift 4 and Living by the Way. Thank you guys so much for following us on Twitch. That is one of the best ways to support us, is watch live on Twitch. And here's a couple of tips for those trying to figure out the Twitch life. If you do, you don't have to do this, but if you want to download the app, the Twitch app on your phone or your computer, it'll give you a little notification when we're getting ready to go live. So it'll help you not miss a show. And here's the thing, Twitch is much better for us because there's a lot less shadow banning and censorship happening over there. And they've got a lot of really good ways for Gons and I to support ourselves that aren't directly related to advertising. We made the call a long time ago that we do not feel good selling your attention. You trust us enough to give us your attention, or you hate us enough to give us your attention. Do some hate watching. Either way, we do not believe in selling that attention for our personal gain. And so if you follow us on Twitch, that helps us do that. We are trying to reach 75 average viewers on every show. So that means not just following us, but also watching live. And if you do that, I'll give you a call out on the show. It's a fun way to do it. Also, here's the thing. We subscribe to the value for value model. Gons and I are your essential employees. That means we work. And if you get value out of what we do, we create the value, we provide it to you. And if you get value, it's your turn to return a little bit of value if you want to keep the show going. And a lot of you have been doing that recently. Thank you guys so much. It's really made a huge difference during this weird time in the world right now. But even though things are weird, we're committed to keep doing the show and to bringing you guys the stories you might have missed. A great way to do that is to go to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's patreon.com/CCNT. There you can sign up for all sorts of fun levels of support, which have different rewards. And while you're at it, you can check out patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. There's some other rewards there. If you want to support us on either one of those, that would be great. And it really helps the show keep going on a regular sustaining basis. And, it's $5 a month, something like that. Price of a cup of coffee. You could feed 2 poor podcasters and their children and their cats. So go ahead and do that. Also, I know a lot of people don't like Patreon, and that's okay. I totally get it. A lot of people have a problem with Patreon, and lucky for you and lucky for us, we have canarycryradio.com/support. You got that jingle ready, Gons?
Oh, it's not ready, but it's right here.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support is a great way to find other ways to support us. We got PayPal over there. We got recurring donations. We got one-time donations. If you just got a couple bucks you want to give once, that's a great place to do it. As well as you can learn a bunch of fun stuff about the decentralized internet at canarycryradio.com/crypto. You can learn about the decentralized internet, and if you're into cryptocurrency, you can support us with that too. Again, that's canarycryradio.com/crypto. And again, another call out to all the producers out there. Somebody needs to make us a jingle for Canary Cry Radio. .com/crypto. So I want one of those by next show. Somebody out there, canarycryradio.com/crypto. Thank you guys for that. Also, we haven't plugged it in a couple of shows, Gons, but I want to mention canarycry.community. Here's the thing. Everybody's on Facebook. Everybody's on these social media platforms. There's all sorts of banning and Facebook jail and your family and friends getting mad at you because you post that crazy fringe stuff. But if you go to canarycry.community, it is a totally separate, off Google, off Facebook, kind of a mix between a forum and a social media place. And we got over 1,300 Canarians over there joining the club, having conversations. You could see there MK Ultra thread, Pentagon, something or other. I got to get closer. There we go. Oh, they're talking about the UFO footage, talking about the Cosmic Endgame, Truth Stream's new video. What are you reading and what's it about? All this sorts of fun stuff. All the conversations you want to be having in a safe place. Nobody's getting triggered. Nobody's getting mad at you. It's a good place to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's kind of the Wild West over there. It's not all flowers and puppies.
We don't have bots. We haven't unleashed the bots over there yet. So
we've got some very hardworking moderators trying to keep conversations on track there. So I want to give a shout out to the mods. God bless you guys. But it is the place to be. If you're a fringe Canarian type person, go to canarycry.community. That is the place to be. It's a real URL, by the way. Strange.community. Okay. Am I forgetting anything, Gons?
No, I do want to quickly go and thank some people that have been giving on PayPal. Just the first name, just in case you're listening out there. I don't remember how far back we went, so I'm going to go through this quickly here. Isaac Perla. Thank you, Perla. Julie.
Perla, thanks.
And some reoccurring folks. Kyle Vasilios. Also awesome support from Vasilios. Adele.
Thank you.
Joseph, Sarah S., Nicholas, Zero Sum, Natalie, Lance, Jacob, Joshua, Arwin, Rosalie, Rachel, George, or Jorge maybe, and Kathleen. So thank you everybody for your ongoing support over on PayPal.
That's right. Those are people who are responding to the value for value model. They get value out of really the whole family of Canary Cry Radio products that we have. And just so you know, we have Canary Cry Radio, Canary Cry News Talk, Face Like the Sun is like on the side there. The Joyspiracy Theory is like on the other side there. We got all sorts of shows that we do, Gons. And, it's really nice. It really means a lot to have people respond in the value for value model. Keeps food in our cupboards, and it just feels good to have people even come in, even if it's a one-time donation of $1 or $2 or whatever. The very fact that you took the time to do a couple clicks and go to a couple web pages to support us really means a lot. So thank you very much, guys, during this time. If there's anything that you want to contribute to the whole Canary Cry ecosystem, you got the links there on the thread. Go ahead
and just sorry. Go ahead.
No,
you were finishing. Okay.
I was rambling
also,
at that point.
I know, and you were burping too, so I was coming to save you.
Thanks.
Lunch coming up.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of deletions for the Face Like This on Patreon. However, the people who stepped it up, Casey, thank you. Sleuth and Gergen, Jason and James and Race. It's an interesting name, Race. Amy and Scott. I think that's it for the Patreon for pretty much most of April. Just want to give you guys a shout out in case I missed it last time. And again, thank you guys for your support there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Loving it.
That is it.
I think that's it too. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for being a part of the live viewership, and thanks for listening later on the podcast or on the YouTube channels. And here's the thing, folks, y'all got friends and loved ones out there who are still getting their news from the mainstream or their Facebook feed. And here's the thing, you got to walk right up to them and grab them by the cage and shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone.
Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, folks. Grab them by the cage, shake it, tell them Canary Cry News Talk's the place to be, and tune in live on twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And that's just about it for this live stream, folks. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for listening. Make sure to tune in next time, which hopefully, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, will be this Friday. But until then, make sure to think outside the cage.
I tried to tell you.
Look it up.
Goodbye.